Hi everyone, my name is Caesar and I'm back with another video after such a long time. I know, it's been a minute and I've been wanting to make another video, but one or the other reason I just kept getting preoccupied with things. But I'm here now and we are making this video. And before I go any further, I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much to people who took the time to watch my videos, the previous videos I made, to listen to my story and to leave a heartfelt comment. Some of the comments were so positive, so overwhelming. And then there were some other comments that were not so positive. And I guess there were some other positives like advising me, do this, do that. Another one was where people were asking me, do I speak that fast? Actually, guys, I don't speak that fast. The previous videos I had to, when I edited them, I just fast forward them. I just added a little bit of speed because I wanted them to fit within a certain amount of minutes, because it takes quite some time for me to upload the video. So the less time it is, the quicker it gets uploaded. Quick is not very quick, but it gets uploaded very much quicker. So I will try not to fast forward or add any speed to the videos, because I guess it does kind of impact on people's ability to hear what I'm saying. But I mean, you can slow it down a bit if you want to. I know it's going to make it a little longer. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. I've taken into account everything that you have said. And again, for the wonderful comments that people have left me, I really, really appreciate it. And I really want to thank all of you from the deepest, corners of my heart. Like, I appreciate it. And I'm glad that, some people could find their story within my story. I was also hoping that this whole speaking is going to help me with my ability to communicate my ideas, because I feel like I still have a lot of work to do when it comes to that. Um, and the other thing I want to put out there, especially with the not so um, pleasant comments that I've seen, there's still some pushback with people, especially with people who are still, very much involved with the organization. Um, the only thing I want to put out there is that it is so important for people to realize that me relaying my experience and talking about every single thing that I have experienced in this organization, whether it was pleasant or unpleasant, is in no way invalidating the people's experiences that are still in this organization, or maybe who were part of this organization. I mean, a lot of us no longer want to associate with the organization, especially the ones that don't want to associate with the organization, or don't want to, you know, live by the standards set out by the uh, organization, have done so because of things that we've experienced. And unfortunately, it is so that we are not given that platform at assemblies to speak about the things that we didn't like. We are told to sit there at the back and, shove it up where nobody's going to hear it. So for me, this channel is my platform to say every single thing that I've always wanted to say, that I've never been given the opportunity to say. And there's so much within me that I know is within other people too. And because we could never talk about these things, it made us feel some kind of way. It made us feel like we were the crazy people. It made us feel like we were the problem. It made us feel misunderstood. It made us feel like we were not spiritual enough. It made us feel so many things that really affected us, really affected me. So me talking about my experience, I'm not invalidating your experience as someone who has experienced pleasant stuff, because yes, there are so many people who've experienced so many pleasant things. And I guess that's part of the reason why people go out to preach, because they want people to experience whatever good things that they are experiencing in the organization. But unfortunately, it's not all that roses, and I don't know what else they say, but it's not all that good. And unfortunately, we are not allowed to talk about the good. And that's not healthy. That really isn't healthy. Because for us, for me, who struggled very much, it makes you feel like you are the problem. And again, like I've said before, it really affects you in a very, very, very big and negative way. So, yeah. Sorry, I meant to say you're not allowed to talk about the bad. You're not allowed to talk about the bad in this organization. Again, because silence is such a huge part of how people are controlled within this organization. So any negative experience is not allowed to see the light of day because it's a bad reflection on Jehovah. But ultimately, we all know I don't want to say it has nothing to do with Jehovah. It's all about, how people will perceive this organization, so I just would like to say to the people that want to come in the comment section and call me a liar, and they don't know me, they've never they haven't walked the road in my shoes that I've walked in. Maybe you have walked the road of being a Jehovah's Witness and have had your own experiences, and that is good and well, but don't invalidate my experience, because I'm not invalidating your experience. If you want to talk about all the good stuff, then do so, but don't do that by calling me a liar when you don't even know who I am. So anyway, that's that. Some things, like, I have to admit, some things, as much as you don't want to give your attention and your energy to them, they really do hurt. So that was kind of painful for me to I have to admit that it was really painful for me to read that, because I'm like, but you don't even know me, but you're gonna call me a liar. And these are really the things I experienced, and they really hurt me and affected me in the way that they did. And then someone comes on here and tries to almost convince you that no, that wasn't your experience. I just don't understand how that makes sense in a person's mind like that. And if that person is an active Jehovah's Witness, I don't see how that is making for a good witness for being a Jehovah's Witness, or how that's you commenting that is making for a good who are you trying to convince? Yourself? You're trying to convince me? Because the other thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to go to in debating things. I'm just here to literally just share my experience for what it was. And like I said, hoping that within my experience, the people who have not been given the voices or have been given the opportunities and stages to be able to share their experience can find their voice within mine, and maybe give them that liberty to share their experience as well. That's basically just all I wanted to say. Thank you again. Thank you so much again to the people that have again said positive things. I really do appreciate it. And sometimes I'm a very socially awkward person, so at times you want to leave a heartfelt comment, but then I feel like, if I'm going to leave a heartfelt comment with this one, I need to do it with the other comments as well. So as you guys know, it's kind of impossible. Not impossible, but it's going to be very difficult for me to do that, because I don't have much time at my disposal. But I want to put it out there that I really do appreciate every comment, people who've watched. I don't really mind or care if people subscribe, if they don't subscribe. Like, it doesn't really matter, as long as people can come here and watch the videos, and it is helpful for them, and they can share it maybe with someone that might find it helpful. That I would appreciate. But like I said, let's not invalidate each other's experiences. It is what it is, and unfortunately or fortunately. And also, I have to admit that sometimes people who try and defend the organization really honestly do think that they are doing like a noble thing, or they're standing up for a noble cause. But one of the things that I've learned in my life the hard way is that sometimes you don't know what you are defending. You honestly don't know what you are defending. And in this particular instance, I'm particularly thinking about disfellowshipping, the whole practice of disfellowshipping and being disfellowship. I remember when I was growing up,
there were a few people that I know in the congregation, not that they were all disfellowshipped at the same time, but there were quite a few people that I know that had been disfellowshipped one or the other time in my congregation, and then you were being told that you're not allowed to talk to them because they are disfellowshipped. And the only thing you would get is that they did something bad to make Jehovah angry or whatever, and because of that you can't really speak to them. And at the time, as a child, I thought, okay, since everybody is doing it, it's a normal thing to do and it's the right thing to do. And you try to justify it to people, because in this organization, everything that's doctrine that you need to believe as a Jehovah's Witness, you also need to defend. And even if you don't understand it, you kind of need to put yourself in a position where you understand it, I guess, by reading the literature, so that you can defend it. But it wasn't until I got this fellowship that I really saw the behind the scene of what this really is. It's so harmful, guys. It is so harmful. And again, I want to say, sometimes we don't know what we are defending. I mean, there are so many things that you will never understand. You might think like, oh, you've read so many books, you've seen so many experiences, you've seen what other people have gone through, and because of that, you know what it's like. You don't know. You don't know something until you go through it. And I wrote a few things down here. Yeah, guys, I'm back in my book. Someone said I'm just selling a book, but we're not there in the comments. But I'm not there now. But there are some things that people go through, like sickness, being a parent, divorce, marriage, losing someone in death, failing, and ultimately being disfellowshipped. There are just some things that you could never understand until you go through them yourself. So until then, I just feel like people who've never experienced certain things shouldn't have too much to say about it. Okay? You can have your opinions maybe, but let your opinions not become the rule or the fact or whatever. If you've never been disfellowshipped, you have no right, absolutely no right, to be defending what you do not know. It is harmful. It is harmful. It's such a harmful practice. And guys, I remember being disfellowshipped, going through such a dark period of my life. I even thought of unaliving myself. I thought about it because I was like, what's the point? What is the point? And you go through the whole motion. It doesn't make sense. Like, how long are you going to be? And guys, I do remember the time when I went to the elders to confess my horrible sins. I was remorseful. I was like ready to change my life at that point. Deep down in my heart, like, I was ready. Like, I was like, if Jehovah could see me, he knew. And but I got disfellowshipped anyway. And the practice in itself, guys, I want to say it is so harmful. It is so harmful. And I remember walking out of my judicial after being told that, oh, you're going to be disfellowshipped now. I remember walking out there feeling so worthless and like wondering, but how? I told them everything. I told them absolutely. And it was hard, the things I had to tell. But it's like, I told them everything. I told them everything. And I didn't even lie. I told them everything that they needed to know, because I was like, you know what? I'm ready to not feel guilty every single time everything is said from the podium that I know I'm guilty of, because I'm ready now to not feel like there's something standing between me and my everlasting life and whatever the hell that you were promised at the time. Like, I'm ready to not feel guilty anymore. After years and years of feeling guilty, I was like, I'm ready to just be free and not feel like I'm carrying this big rock on my back. There used to be this one illustration in one of the watchtowers of this guilty person with this rock on their back, and like, oh my God. Yeah, as I was saying, I was just ready not to feel guilty anymore, guys. I was just done. And for some weird reason, as painful as my disfellowshipping was, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that that was my experience. I'm so grateful that I was a disfellowship. I'm so grateful because I got to see disfellowshipping for what it was. Because I think, had I not been disfellowshipped when I was disfellowshipped, I would have defended this. And I would have thought, no, if you are repentant enough, you will not get disfellowship. But we all know there are many instances where people get disfellowship despite being genuinely remorseful. So I'm glad I was disfellowshipped, because I needed to be on the other side of the fence to know what this practice really is. And to be quite fair, this whole process of going through the judicial, being disfellowshipped and trying to get myself reinstated, because I remember writing my letter after a couple of months. Yo, guys, this was when I was in America. And tried to get reinstated the first time. And even the months, like going up to the whole writing the letter, I didn't know what I was gonna say in the letter, other than like, I'm sorry, like, what am I gonna say, but anyway, I mustered up the courage to write things that, I had this epiphany moment this one time when I was in the kitchen washing dishes. I'm like, okay, this is what I can write. I wrote it, and I was like, I learned from my mistakes vibes. Sent the letter off. I was in Massachusetts at this time, and when I was disfellowshipped, I was in California, and I gave the letter to the elders. Yeah, the letter went to the elders in the Massachusetts congregation, and then they sent it to the elders in California, and then the response came back, and apparently, according to them, like, it hadn't been enough time. And I was so hurt, guys. I was so hurt, because again, I think one of the other things that made my disfellowship particularly very, very painful was the fact that I got disfellowship around the time that I was also going through a breakup, and I was in a relationship with a guy who also happened to be a Jehovah's Witness, and we kind of got disfellowship around the same time. And going through the breakup, the breakup was unrelated to the disfellowshipping. I don't know how to put it, but it's like we broke up, and because there are things that had happened between us, I just figured, no, man, you know what, if we're gonna break up, let it be clean. Anything that happened between us needs to come out in the open, so that when I get away from you, you don't have any hold on me whatsoever, and I don't want to feel guilty when I run into you, like where I can't look into your eyes vibe. No, I didn't want any of that. I mean, that was one of the reasons, but that was very much at the bottom. But I think I just wanted to do right. At that point, I was like, I've been messing up so much. I just wanted to do right. So ultimately, what I'm saying is, what made my disfellowshipping particularly hard was I was going through a breakup at that time. I was really going through a breakup, from like being engaged to breaking up with someone. And that can be very, very difficult if you are emotionally, because I was emotionally invested in this person. I was like invested. My whole life revolved around them. And then when they broke things off with me, I was lost. Like, what am I going to do now? I was literally invested to that extent where, oh my God, like, this was not part of the plan. Like, what am I going to do without this person? I like completely lost my identity in this person. So when they broke up with me, it was a very, very traumatizing experience. And that's the time when you need people around you, people who understand. And then getting disfellowshipped around the same time, oh my God, it's like a recipe for disaster. So, like when you are in the pits, that's where I was. And that's why I say it was so bad. I honestly thought of unaliving myself, because I really felt like I had no one. You get disfellowshipped, you're going through a breakup. Who are you going to talk to? You're not allowed to have friends in the world, and the friends in the congregation that you have now are not allowed to talk to you. And please make me understand how this whole situation makes sense. It doesn't. Even if you are a person with a very strong relationship with God, you still need people. You still need people for the unfortunate events of lives. And at that time, I had no. And the other thing with my disfellowshipping also that I need to mention was, okay, inevitably when I was disfellowshipped, I feel at this point, in a way, it was almost like, okay, now I'm getting my dignity back, in a way whereby even if people would come and point fingers, but oh, you did this and this and this, I'd be like, no, but I served my sentence. I was disfellowshipped and I served my sentence. So for me, it was also as if like this whole disfellowship thing is taking away that long existing guilt that I was feeling, and I was atoning for my sins, in essence, by being disfellowshipped. But it still it still at the core just did not make sense. It's like, why does it need to be this way? Why does it need to be this way? It really, it honestly did just not make any sense to me. Oops. Yeah. And then when they were going to make the announcement, they said I needed to be there when the announcement is made, because if you are not there when the announcement is made, it kind of shows that you are not repentant also, and that's going to impact on you know, the amount of time you will be disfellowshipped. And guys, the things I had to go through to be at that meeting that night. Oh my Lord. Anyway, but I was there. I was sitting in the back, and they made the announcement, and yeah. It was hard, man. It was hard. Yes, I was in a congregation of people that hadn't known me for a very long time, because I just not just moved from South Africa. I'd been in the congregation, like I think I joined that congregation in November, and then I was disfellowshipped there in July of the next year. So I'd been there for quite some time and made established a few friendships. So it was really, really difficult to part with that. And it was on that day when when that decision was made, a lot of the friendships, I feel like they kind of ended, because for the duration of the time that I was there, I was not allowed to talk to anyone up until I left. Guys, I remember the night when the final night, or the final meeting I attended at that congregation, I was going through so much. I was going through a lot. And I still don't have the words to kind of express the things I was going through. I didn't find a family in California, because I was au pairing in America. I didn't find a family in California that I could extend with, because things were not going very well with the family I was with the first time. And I had found a family in Massachusetts, so I had to move. So people who know, it's literally from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast, to the other side of the country. And the last night, I was sitting there in the back, and I was sitting and I'm thinking to myself that, you know what, the people I had met, because there were some really amazing people I met, guys, amazing people I met in the congregation that were like good friends. And it's very unfortunate that, yes, the friendship had to end because of me getting disfellowship, but I will not take away the fact that those were some really amazing friendships that I had. And it was me sitting there internalizing the fact that some of these people I'm never ever going to see again. And it's my last night at the meeting, and I'm not going to be able to say goodbye. And there were so many things that were going through my heart, and I was hurt, man. I was hurt. I remember sitting there in the B school, like literally, like the tears were here until they dropped. So you know how your nose gets clogged, and I didn't want to do that pull. But at some point, the elder that actually did the prayer for the goodbye prayer, I'll call it the goodbye prayer, because the last prayer was standing in the door in the second school, because I think he had a baby at that time or something. But he was standing there. And then when I pulled, like when I did the whole thing and the tears dropped, because I just couldn't help it anymore. He heard that, and I think all the people that were sitting there, they heard that, and then they knew I was crying. And of course nobody can come and comfort you at that moment, but I cried. So even when that brother did his prayer that night, he mentioned that, because I remember him talking about Jehovah being with the people that are going through things that people might not be aware of. And deep down inside, I felt like he was carrying me within his prayer, and I appreciated that so much. But it did not take away the pain. It just didn't take away the pain. It was yes. And after the prayer, I took whatever belonged to me. I stood up, I walked out the back door, and that was it. That was the end of everything. That was really the end of everything. And then I went to the East Coast, which I guess I appreciate that moving away too. I just needed a new environment where people didn't know me and people couldn't judge me off of anything except for the fact that I was disfellowshipped. All they know is that I'm disfellowshipped. Why I'm disfellowshipped, they didn't know. I'm just disfellowshipped. That probably did something bad. guys, it's not really about being repentant or not. It has nothing to do with that. It's just that you did something bad, people know about it. Okay, we gotta disfellowship you because you know what, yeah, too many people know. But anyway, that's what it was. And yeah, I moved to the East Coast and, you know, I was literally kind of reinstated towards almost the very, very end. The very, very end. I think it was end of August, or was it end of September? But I remember getting reinstated just in time to go to New York to meet this friend of mine who was also a witness. To be able to, we went to Patterson, we went to Warwick. Yes, we went to Patterson. Was it Warwick? No, man, it wasn't Warwick. What's that other place? Warwick is another. Is it Warwick now? Where the headquarters are right now, the new headquarters. Because when we were still there was quite a few things that were still like, you know, not under like under constructions. Yeah, it wasn't quite finished. I think it was really a privilege to have been there during that time. But I think, guys, it's like, you know, the people that go to the moon, like everybody kind of desires to go to the moon up until they get there, and it's like, now what's next in this thing? So I think, you know, in this whole Jehovah's Witness life cycle thing, a lot of people's desire is to ultimately go to the headquarters, especially the people who live out of the country, and to see, you know, how things are made and how things are done. You know, as a Jehovah's Witness, if you know, can't be a pioneer or Bethelite or whatever, the ultimate goal for any witness is to go to these headquarters and see, you know, where all the things that, you know, the spiritual food is made and where it comes from. And guys, trust me, once you've been there, and it's like okay, what's next? You know, what's next? There's nothing, because really, you know, I look back and I'm like, you know, I was very fortunate to experience that even people who would be considered to be very spiritually strong in this organization will never be able to experience the things that I was able to experience, you know, which is going to Bethel, you know, to Patterson and Wallkill, that's the place, and be able to go to Wallkill and see the things, because ultimately it's like you gotta keep on striving for things. So unfortunately, I could never strive to be, I mean, I would have wanted to be a pioneer, but I feel like there were just so many things standing in my way. But I'm just saying, you know, sometimes all you need to do is just go to the very, very end, to the ends of the world, to realize that, you know, but there's nothing there. There honestly is nothing there. So, you know, you're going to be kept striving in this organization. You'll keep striving because you think there are things beyond that. But ultimately, guys, there's nothing beyond that. The only thing you have is basically kind of this life that you have right now. It's the life that you have right now and what you make of it. And you honestly cannot live your life based off of the opinions of other people. You can't govern your life by what other people tell you. No matter how big you might perceive the watchtower to be, if it feels wrong, like for me, guys, I knew a lot of the things that we were told to be just felt wrong deep down in my heart. They felt like, no, you know, this particular one is not made for me. So that whole one size fits all quickly made a lot of things just fall apart for me. But anyway, I feel like this was more of a rant than anything. I'm gonna put this video out there, guys, and yeah, my little experience on my my experience of being disfellowshipped. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time again to watch my video. Yeah, I'm gonna end it here. I just don't want this video to be too long. I might even end up adding a little speed to it again, I don't know. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Anyway, lots of love from my end, and have a wonderful day. I'll see you in my next video. Hopefully it will be sooner than this one.